Hey, it's your girl Nate coming to you with another episode of As Told by Nate, the podcast. Welcome. Happy Thursday, everyone. I hope you're having a great day thus far. I know y'all trying to figure it out. Like, man, make your mind up. Is it Tuesday? Is it Thursday? Is it 8? Is it 9? But listen, it's all of that. It's all of that. It's all of the above. And we're going to make it do what we need it to do when and how we need it to do it. So y'all just bear with me. We're going to figure it out and it's going to be great. My week has been a lot. It's been a lot. I needed this conversation tonight. I love coming to have dialogue with y'all, answer y'all questions, kind of just chop it up. My guests brain about, various things, hear their stories. It's the highlight of my week. Let me do it how I want to do it. As y'all can see, today is we got the puff out. The eyebrows ain't doing what I need them to do. The lashes ain't doing what I need them to do, and they ain't even mine. So we need to go talk about why it's doing that. But you know what? I still feel good. I'm happy to be here, and we're gonna get it going. So my guest that I have on tonight is a really dear friend of mine. I'm excited to finally get her on to share her story. We're going to talk a little bit about this thing called love. Y'all love to have the love conversation with me, and y'all know I love to have it too. So I'm going to get her on, introduce herself, and we're going to go ahead and get tonight started. Hey! How are you this evening?
I'm good. I'm blessed. How are you, sis?
I'm here. I'm here. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you introduce yourself to the people, let them know who you are, anything you feel like they need to know about you going into this conversation.
Okay. My name is Reniqua Fells. I've known Nate since college. We danced together on Elite, Family Elite Dance Squad. And I'm just here to share my story about things I've been through in my past and how I found love after so much that I went through. Okay. But I'm here. So I'm excited to be here to share my story. I'm blessed to be here. And I'm excited just to see what we are going to discuss tonight. Like I said, I'm blessed. I'm happy. I couldn't always say I was happy, but I can say I'm happy now.
And that's a blessing in itself. That is a blessing in itself. All right. So before we even get into all of that, I'm going to go ahead and let us know what we're toasting to this evening.
We are toasting to peace, being a conqueror, prosperity, joy, a year full of joy and happiness.
I'm here for that.
Cheers.
I got my glass. I don't know if y'all can read that. It says, enjoy the journey. And that's what I've been trying to do a lot more these days, because my field of work, for those of you that don't know, I work in grief, and humans, we don't have forever. Our time is borrowed, and I feel like we really need to take advantage of the fact of every new day that we're blessed with and enjoy the journey. Stop thinking too hard about it. You can't plan out every aspect. There's going to be high times just like there's going to be low times. Embrace it and keep going.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we're going to embrace it and keep going with these excuse me, come again questions. You did not get to prepare for this. And it's just a little icebreaker. I'm going to ask you 4 random questions.
Okay.
And we're going to go from there. So question number 1. What has been the most challenging obstacle in your life that you were able to overcome?
You just digging right on in, huh? Right? I think the most challenging obstacle in my life was, I'm just dive right on in, my emotional abuse. I think that was the most challenging but rewarding experience in my life.
Okay. And we're going to talk about it. Question number 2. How do you know when you're in love?
To me, love is not a feeling. Love is a choice. And first, you have to love yourself and see yourself the way God sees you. When you're able to do that, that's how you know that you can love someone, and then you're able to receive healthy love, not toxic love, not convenient love, but healthy love that God has for you.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and stop. She preaching, y'all. Hope you caught that. All right. Question number 3. What is a weird quirk that you possess? And it may not be weird to you, but other people find it weird.
I would say that's a good question. A weird quirk. I would say sorry, someone distracted me. A weird quirk. I ask a lot of questions, and I've been told I could be a drama queen. Like, especially like my fiance. Sorry,
I know that's right.
He told me that it's not the questions I ask. It's just like my reaction to things. Like when I sneeze, I like curl over and I like dive on the floor, and I'm so extra. So, but you know, like just like I'm very clumsy as well. I'm clumsy.
Okay. And question number 4. If you could have a superpower, what would it be and what would you use it for?
If I had a superpower, oh man, I definitely. Hold on.
Right.
Can I make up something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a superpower.
My superpower would be, if in a perfect world, to not experience fear and have all the tools I need to conquer fear without being depressed, without questioning myself, without doubting myself. I could just conquer it with no issue. I'm not there. So that must be
I think that's a really good superpower, though.
Thank you.
Like fear is big for a lot of people, and it holds us back from a lot of different things.
Yes, it does.
That's a good one.
It's attack of the enemy too.
Yes, that. All right, so that was so bad. Those are the excuse me come again questions. And we're going to move it right into the conversation for tonight. So if I had to give tonight a title, I would say Love Wins, because that's exactly what we're talking about. We have had guests on the show before that have spoken to physical abuse, emotional abuse, and mental abuse, sexual abuse, all types of different things that have damaged their outlook on love, their ability to receive or give love. But at the end of the day, y'all know me, I'm a hopeless romantic, and I'm a firm believer that everyone deserves love and can learn again to receive healthy love and give healthy love. So at the end of the day, love wins. So that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today, because I don't think I've had anybody on here, I'm pretty sure I haven't, where we've spoken to what that looks like in the end. We talked about the damage, we talked about how we grow from it, but what does trying again look like? What does trusting again look like? What does loving again look like and feel like? So y'all know me, my therapist brain, I like to start at the beginning. So for you, Meek, how was your self-esteem developed? Like, what was your mindset about yourself when you began dating?
My self-esteem, it went through phases before I began dating that led into dating. I think initially I didn't feel I was worthy. I didn't feel like I wasn't confident in myself. My self-esteem was at an all-time low. But on May 10th, 2021, I called my grandma Corby Fells. She's a pastor at Grace Truth Deliverance Ministries, Black Florida. I called my grandma for prayer, and she prayed for me. And it was like, because I was in a dark place, and she prayed for me. And I immediately felt this dark cloud move over me. Like, it was just like a release. And she asked me before that happened, she asked me if I wanted to give my life to Christ. And I said yes. And I was bawling, crying, bawling, right? So I told her yes. And I believe after that, that's where my self-esteem began to flourish. I also, I went to therapy, and I wrote affirmations on my mirror. And those affirmations consisted of, you are enough, you are strong, you're a great mother, you're not broke, you're not a bald-headed bee. Like all the names that I've been called, I wrote those on my mirror, but I reversed them to be positive. And that is when my self-esteem began to flourish. So when I began dating, I dated differently. I did it with intentions. I think before, my dating journey was more so like just looking for a validation from men. And once I found validation in myself through Christ, I was able to date in a healthy way. And so my self-esteem began to flourish, and I didn't tolerate certain things in dating that I did before. And just little stuff like not giving my body away too soon, not kissing on the first date, praying, making sure the relationship with God was on the same level as me. Because one thing I realized is that even though people say they have a relationship with God, girl, they don't. So my self-esteem, it began to improve when I began dating. I didn't tolerate a lot of things. It was a struggle because a lot of men did trigger me. A lot of men did trigger me. But my self-esteem began to flourish when I found God. When I truly invested my time and my passion into Christ and view myself the way God views me and not the way other people views me. A man can call me names, he can call me all these things, but when you love yourself the way God loves you, ain't nothing no man can say that's gonna be nothing. I promise you.
I feel like we finna hit church when we really talk about your healing, because I can feel it coming off of you. The energy is definitely there.
I'm sorry, girl.
No, it's fine. It's fine because
healing.
we can definitely take it there, honey, because it's necessary, you know.
Yeah.
So that was a perfect way to answer that question.
Yeah.
So let's look at the before healing, though. When you think about the way you grew up, so something that I have learned over the years is that my relationship with my family members, right? Super, super close, super, super tight, because that's how I was raised. I saw that kinship was supposed to be the core value of my life. It's a very important relationship, and it was reciprocated, right? I grew up seeing my mother having very solid female friendships and like understanding what true friendship. So I knew how to be a good friend because I saw it and I was raised that way. My mama ain't play that whole dating thing and having a boyfriend when I was younger. So I didn't start dating until I got to college.
Wow.
And my parents divorced when I was very young. So I never saw a man love my mom outside of her brothers, her father, but in a romantic way.
Yeah.
I was blessed to see my uncles loving my aunties. I did see healthy male-female romantic relationships, but it wasn't like a in-your-face something that I saw. So I had an idea.
Right.
So when I started dating as an 18-year-old, I was doing it all wrong. I really didn't even know what I liked, what I wanted. I'm just out here. We're trying to figure it out. And so I had a lot of growing to do. And then I was like kind of awkward as a kid. So when I came into understanding who I was and trying to figure it out, validation was at the top of my list too. And it was like that for a long time. So talk to me a little bit about, your understanding of love growing up. Like, what did that look like for you in your household? What did you see?
Well, my parents divorced. I believe I was 5 or 6 years old. And my mom moved me, my sister, my brother to Orlando, and she got remarried. And that relationship to me was toxic. Sorry, Mom. So unfortunately, I was raised with her. So in that process, I wasn't really able to see or experience how a woman moves in a healthy relationship and how a man treats a woman in a relationship either. And I wasn't raised in a 2-parent household, so I wasn't able to see my parents in the same household together. And I did tell my mom and my dad a while back that I held a little bit resentment because of it, because of their divorce and me. I did blame my parents a little bit for me not being in healthy relationships. I blamed them a little bit. But what I had to realize is that my parents could only do what they were taught how to do. However my parents were raised was how they received love and how they taught me how to love and how they moved in their own relationships. So I couldn't hold them accountable for my lack of choices in relationships. And my dad is a very loving man, and my mom is also very loving. They're both in different relationships. My dad has been married 20 plus years to my bonus mom. They're great together. They've definitely had their issues, but overall, I was able to see them together for all this time and things that they accomplished. And however, due to me not having that in the home, I did tend to look for validation in men. That was something that I did do because I didn't have my dad in the home with me. So I saw my dad. I had a good relationship with him, but I never saw that relationship like with two people that love each other and care for each other. I didn't see that in a home with like growing up. And even when down to friendships, I was taught to not, I guess, express myself, but I was taught as a kid, if someone mistreats you or someone talk about you or someone hits you, you go to a teacher, don't respond. So when I got to college, I was in them girls was ruthless. Yeah. And I saw myself not defending myself. I saw girls trying to attack me verbally, and I didn't know what to say because I'm not used to confrontation. I'm like, whoa, I wasn't taught how to defend myself. So now, and when I joined, I can say, and I think I told Summer, I told a few girls on Elite that we danced with, I told them that I didn't really find a voice until I met Elite. Like y'all taught me, even in cheerleading, I didn't have a voice. I didn't defend myself, nothing. But when I met y'all, my Elite sisters, that's when I found my voice. And I love it. I'm about to cry. Hold on.
Lord, why we do this every time?
Okay. So when I met y'all taught me how to defend myself. Y'all taught me to speak up for myself. Even the smallest girl, like, you know, some of the girls in Elite real tiny, like even those girls, like they were just so, like, they didn't allow people to mistreat them. And I didn't learn that until I met y'all, because I wasn't taught that. I was taught to walk away, you know? So, but as far as love goes, I wasn't able to see that in the household. So it did affect me in my relationships. It really did.
Right. And something that I noticed just even as an adult and then like working with people in my profession is that there are some people, because of unforeseen circumstances where they didn't have a 2-parent household, whether their parent was a single parent or one of their parents died or one of their parents were in the military and they didn't get to see the love transaction. There were still standards that were taught to them on what to look for when they were dating and all of these things. I realized because my mama didn't want me to date, even that was lacking. So I didn't even know what the standard was supposed to be,
right?
Because I didn't have that teaching either. It was something that I had to learn for myself. So when you think about before the healing and your standards of dating, like what did that look like? What kind of guys did you feel like, oh, let me see what this is about?
Girl. So I think I went through different stages of men in my life. Okay. So in college, I feel like I dated guys. I had 2 long-term relationships in college. And the first one, I feel he was older than me. And I feel like he was like I don't want to say a father figure, but he was like the popular guy who was a drum major, and he was, all this, and I was a freshman, and I didn't wanted me, so I was just like, like, let's dive on in. However, I wasn't ready to be in a relationship with him. He wasn't really emotionally available for me. So I feel like I settled in that situation because I was with him for 2 years. And then I met my son's father. And in that relationship, I felt like I gave him my all. I gave him my emotions. I gave him my physical, spiritual. I felt like I poured so much into him, and it was not reciprocated. And I treated him like he was a child. And he really wasn't ready for what I was ready for, what I thought I was ready for. So I felt like he was, I don't want to say anything negative, but I felt like a mother, I felt like a mom. And I was always taught, my dad was a provider. My dad and my bonus mom, they did work together in some sort, but in my opinion, my dad was a provider. Like he wasn't perfect, but he was provided for his family. And so I was like, why am I with someone that can't even provide for me? And we are in college at this time, but providing is not just financial. Providing to me is emotional, mental, spiritual. That's providing. And so financially, I wasn't tripping because I don't got all the money in the world either. So how can I expect you to have it? I don't have it. But he didn't provide in other areas. He didn't provide emotionally, as far as cheating and, the lying and the mistreatment. And, I saw him as a husband. Like, I want to marry you. I probably can build a family. And he didn't see me that way. So, and then fast forward, I dated a guy in Orlando for a couple of years. And I think I was still harping on to that hurt that I experienced with my son's father. And I just dumped all of that onto him. And I had to call him after that and apologize because I wasn't nice. He wasn't perfect either, but I take accountability for my part. And on my part, I wasn't nice. I was very, I could be very aggressive, but just irate, angry. I was angry. A lot of anger outbursts with him. And that's when I met my most recent ex. And that's where the emotional abuse stemmed from, my most recent ex. And I saw some of the things in him that I feel like I did to my previous ex. I wasn't a narcissist. I wasn't any of those things, but just little stuff. But when I met this most recent ex, I feel like it was like times 10. So if that's times 10, and I know for a fact I did these little things, I have to apologize to this person because that's not who I am. And I don't want to be mistreated. I don't want to be treated in that way. So sorry, I'm long-winded. I like to talk. So all of that just molded me into the person that I am and how I date today, right? So I can't remember the whole question, but did I answer the question?
Yes, you did. And a perfect lead in too, because I was going to speak to the fact that as people are supposed to date multiple people over time, and each person that you date is teaching you more and more about what you want, what you don't want, what your future is supposed to look like. And this young man right here said something that was like spot on for me. Dating was always something that I was pushed to do even young, like a rite of passage as a dude. Date all the girls, smash all the girls. Love ain't something to seek until you get old. I feel like so many men that I was interested in, like in college and even after that should have, they were older, so we supposed to be past this. Their mindset was very like in the moment. Longevity wasn't something that they thought was important, and so they treated their relationships like that. And so that is how my standard began to form, unfortunately. That is not supposed to happen right now. Like, I'm supposed to go through this. Oh, that's stupid saying, and I hate it, and I will never tell my daughter this. Love hurts. It's not supposed to.
It's not. It's patient. It's kind.
Hello.
It is not boast.
And so you kind of get to a space where you're building this personality and these standards, and this is how I am in my relationships based off the things that you're learning from other past experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to touch with that into different forms of domestic abuse. Yes. Because people think that if you're getting hit or punched or slapped or slammed around, oh, that's abuse, but nothing else is. No. There are definitely other forms of abuse. Yeah. And I'm guilty because I didn't realize that until it started to happen. So let's talk a little bit about, because you mentioned it, that emotional and that mental abuse that a lot of women find themselves experiencing, and a lot of men too, and they don't even realize it because
they don't realize it.
Well, she just had a few problems. She just mean. Her mama was mean, but no, she's abusing you. So talk to us a little bit about like your experience, some of the things that you went through, and when you realized like I'm being abused.
Okay, so I met my most recent ex. I was turning 30. I can remember like it was yesterday. And I didn't realize what he was doing at the time when I did my research, and I'm realizing like, dang, like something ain't right. You know, when I first met him, he love bombed me. And I was always into like gifts and, you know, someone buying me things because I didn't feel like I got that, like the provider piece for my dad. Like he was there financially, but he, you know, I don't want to touch on that right now, but I feel like I was searching that through a man. Like, you know what I'm saying? So when I first met him, he did love bomb me. He took me on a date and he gave me $500, and he got me some gifts. He got me a cake, got me a massage, all this. I just met this man, you know, from Campaign. Okay. So
red flag.
Now I know it's a red flag. But back then, am I going into 30? I was like, oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Right. This is so great.
So great. Oh my goodness. So that was the beginning. And he did a lot of little things early, like first 2-3 months, like asking me to trade in my car because I had a Cobalt and I had a Rogue at the time. And he wanted me to trade my car in and put it in his name and buy him, like, so he can get him a car. That was another red flag. It's 2 months, not even. And then another red flag was I was trying to open my business, Red Bash at the time, and he decided that he would surprise me and buy my license, but my EIN number was under his social, under his date of birth. It was all under him. And so I tried to look at it like, oh, he was being sweet. I thought that was weird. Like, that was the first thing. And then after that, it was the continuous love bombing. And then it got so toxic with him still being around his ex-wife. I never really saw his children. He cheated on me with his ex-wife. They were divorced. He cheated on me with her. It was just a constant, like, demeaning, calling me names, constant going back and forth, constant just manipulation, gaslighting, making me think that what I see and hear isn't real when I know what I saw. And then to the point where I'm second guessing myself, like, well, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe he didn't mean this. Maybe he didn't say that. Maybe I'm tripping. But deep down, no, you did these things. You said this. And so it was just that constant repetitive cycle. And I would leave. He would buy me a gift. I would go back. I would leave, he'll take me out to eat, I'll go back. You know, so that was how he got me to go back to him. And it got so bad to where, you know, he would pop up at my house and bang on my door. I had to call the cops a couple times. You know, it was very traumatic for me. And then again, like I said, the name calling, like to the point where I felt like I wasn't worthy. I felt like I wasn't worthy to be a wife. I wasn't worthy to be anything but drop his address. I just was at an all-time low. And I remember in 2021, I would say between October 2020 and June 21, I was depressed. Like, I went into a deep depression. I couldn't leave the house. My parents thought they knew something was wrong with me. Like, I would be around them and I would be sad. I wasn't happy. I was, my family would question me, like, you just real distant. You don't really talk to me like that no more. You acting strange. But I was in my home. I would still get up and go to work. But at some point, even at work, I went out on FMLA, because imagine I was a CPI, a child protective investigator. I work for DCF, where I investigate child abuse and neglect at the time. So I'm trying to save lives, and I'm trying to help women and men and children get away from abuse and physical abuse and sexual abuse. And I'm going home to suffer it myself. So that added on to my depression. Depression got so bad to where I started drinking lots of alcohol. And my favorite one was Tito's. I love Tito's. It was my favorite, but it was very much so a coping mechanism. Like, I feel like I needed to drink to cope. I needed to drink to deal with the fact that I'm not good enough. Who's going to want me? Am I supposed to stay with this person? He's the only one's going to want me. He said things that made me feel like no one else is going to see me the way that he sees me, or view me the way he views me. No one else is going to take care of me, and all these things. So my depression was at an all-time high, and I was in a very, very, very dark place. And to the point where I remember I called my grandma for prayer that day, and I told her, I don't want to be here anymore. I just feel like I don't want to be here. Like, I just feel like this is not the place for me anymore. Like, I don't want to be here. And that's when she would just, my grandma, she just went into the whole spiritual thing.
Sure.
Yeah, she did. She was very concerned. And like I said, my depression was at an all-time high, and I didn't love myself. I didn't have a relationship with God either. So I didn't know to view myself the way God viewed me. And I didn't realize at the time, I'm not an alcoholic, but at the time I was abusing alcohol to cope. I did it a lot. So that's what happened in a nutshell.
And I just want to, before we move into the next piece, it all ties together, but when you're younger and you hear that saying, like, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Lies.
I used to hate that, because hey, words do hurt.
A bruise heal. Words hurt.
Stones. You hit me with a stone, it's gonna bruise, and then it's gonna go away. You tell me that I'm worthless, nobody want me, I'm not lovable, I'm this, I'm that, I'm ugly, hey, and you keep telling me those things, at some point I'm going to start to internalize that.
Yep.
And that is going to become my belief about myself.
Exactly.
My mom used to always be careful what you say, because power lies in the tongue.
Yeah, the power of life and death is in the tongue.
So I'm always very careful about the things that I say to people, because you just never know the effect that it's going to have. So I'm going to tell y'all this, my people that's watching, be kind to people. If you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all.
Just be quiet.
Don't say it at all, because you don't know where people are at in their lives, and what you're saying like that is heartbreaking. And I've heard this story before, and it's heartbreaking all over again, because it's just like, people will be like, oh, why would you take that in? And why would you believe what they was? Hey, if you think that somebody loves you and you keep hearing this thing about yourself over and over again, eventually you are going to start to believe that.
Yeah.
And that is how the cycle of abuse starts and stays until you get to a point where you're strong enough to pull away, break away.
Yep.
and heal.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that healing.
Yes.
So we're moving into the aftermath of we've been through this terrible, uncomfortable, broke me down relationship.
Right.
And now I'm standing up again. Grandmother got me right.
What she did. Oh my gosh.
And I'm moving forward. What did your healing process look like?
It was powerful. It was powerful. It was powerful. Like I said, I remember waking up one day and I found out some terrible news, and all I could think of was to call my grandma. And I called her for prayer, and she prayed for me. And then she asked me, daughter, do you want to give your life to Christ? And I said, yes. And when she prayed and I surrendered, like, God will bring you to your knees.
Hello.
He brought me to my knees. I surrendered it all. Like, I dropped to my knees while she was, and this is on the phone, girl. It's on the phone.
Yeah.
I dropped to my knees. I threw my hands up and I received the prayer. I received Christ back into my life. And I immediately felt that dark cloud move. It was powerful. I don't know if people believe in God like I do, but I do. And when I tell you God is real, the depression, the alcohol abuse went away in an instant. I was no longer depressed. Was I traumatized? Yes. Did I still have triggers? Yes. Yes, I still have trauma. I still have PTSD now, thinking back to my past. And I can look at a sign and remember something, you know? But anyways, and then one of my good friends, I called her, said my good news, I got saved, girl. The Lord delivered me from all these things. And she invited me to church, a live church is here in Orlando where I live now. And I got baptized. I believe it was May 30th or May 31st, one of those days in 2020 when I got baptized. And I felt cleansed. I was renewed. I was cleansed. I felt free after my baptism. And I began going to church. I started serving for the Lord. And I would travel to go to church because at this point I was living in Daytona. My church right now is in Orlando. So I would travel to go to church an hour away just because I knew that a live church was my church. Like, I love that church. So that's where my healing journey began. And that's when I began to see myself the way God saw me and love myself the way He loves me and views me. Because one thing I realized is that even though you might feel this way, that ain't what God said about you. Mm-hmm. And for me, my healing journey, it meant the world to me. And I was not going to allow anyone else, friends, family members, they go for everybody to disrupt my peace.
Hello.
Family included. You know, no shade against family, but sometimes family can be toxic too. And there have been friends that I thought I was going to be friends with forever. We're not friends no more. And I've known them since elementary school. We're not friends anymore. One thing that God will do, He will remove people from your life without even nothing happening.
Hello.
People just disappear. They disappear, or something might happen that you didn't expect to happen, and boom, they gone. So I had to embrace that too. It's hard to be friends with someone and then y'all no longer friends. Y'all been friends for so long. That's hard. But I knew that I knew that He had my best interests at heart. And I know that I have to go through the process, this progression to get to the other side. Right? And the other side is joy. It's God's promise. Hey, baby.
I know that's right. Hey,
babe. What's up? So yeah, on the other side was joy. It was peace. It was God gave me the peace that surpasses all understanding. And I no longer leaned on myself. I leaned on God. And so many years I leaned on myself. I did things the way that I want to do things. I didn't do things the way God want me to do things. I didn't listen to Him. I didn't seek Him. So I have to say, Nay, that my healing journey began with my love for the Lord. And just diving deep into the Word and diving deep into the way God sees me. And that was when I got the confidence. When I gave my life to Christ, He gave me the confidence to lead. before him, I feel to this day, had I not called my grandmother and got saved that day, I would still be in a relationship.
Wow.
He saved my life because I was in the dark. I'm about to cry.
Amen.
I'm sorry. But I was in a place, and God saved me. He saved me because I didn't think I would be here. I didn't think that I would ever meet a man that loves me. I didn't think that my son would ever experience love. Like, my child also saw things that he should not have seen.
Mm-hmm.
And God saved us. So,
That's
sorry.
That's right. You better do it. So, that is a very powerful testimony for sure. Mm-hmm. And I want to use that as a segue into, like, the healing doesn't stop.
No.
So it's like, I remember when I ended up leaving my ex-fiance and thinking, I'm going to get this together. I'm going to go to counseling. I'm going to, get back serious about my relationship with God, getting my word a little bit, focus on me. And I was doing the thing. And I didn't start dating again. It had to be like 3 years later. I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready. I can do this. I've healed. I'm good. In my mind that, you need to heal before you date again. You need to be in a better space and don't take your baggage into the next situation. Let me say something. That young man did a number on me because here it is. It's been about 8 years now that we have not been together, and I'm still trying to like maneuver through some of the things that was done and said and placed on me. And so let's talk a little bit about, because Babe walked in at just the right moment. We have found love again.
Yeah.
Just in your journey of becoming this better version of yourself, but still trying to understand and trust the process of loving again.
Yeah. So I want to back up again a little bit.
Yes.
I just want to say again that when you choose to love yourself, God also opens doors, and he opened a lot of doors for me. I'm back in school, get a master's degree. My son is in a better place. So it's just so powerful. Like how many doors opened right after I left, including the door that led me to my fiance.
That's right.
Yeah, that was hard in the beginning. Like, I didn't tell him, but I was still dealing with a lot of things. I was going through my healing journey, but I felt like I don't have to put myself in a box because I'm healing. I felt like I was healed enough to begin to date again. I was ready to receive love. I was ready to love someone as well. So I dated with intentions. I didn't date because I want to be married. I want a man. No, I dated with intentions. I wanted someone that was for me, someone that loved me for me and accepted me for who I am, and vice versa. And so when I met my fiance on Upward, because I hated online dating, Nate.
What is Upward? What is that?
It's a Christian dating app.
Okay. Look.
It's a Christian dating app. It's free. It's free. I despise online dating, girl. Like, I was just like, online dating isn't for me. I just want the Lord to send me a man in the grocery store or in the parking lot, something real organic and natural. Lo and behold, I met
that online dating, honey.
Girl, I had a story. Okay.
I tried it. It hit one time and it was decent, and then it went nowhere. But I'm not mad at it, you know what I'm saying? But I know a lot of people that have met like their person on online dating. So this is for y'all out there that's wondering, should I go for it?
Yeah, I did not think I would meet my fiance online.
Right.
I didn't expect it. I didn't want it in the beginning. But when I met him, we just clicked organically from day one. It was very natural. He was God-centered. He had a love for Christ. He was involved in ministry just like me. So we already shared that in common. And he didn't do it it was genuine. It wasn't fake. It wasn't to win me over. It was a genuine relationship with God. And I love that about him. Like, that was the first thing I loved about him. And on top of that, he was funny. He was good looking. He had everything. I tell you, I had a list. It's okay to have a list now. Okay? And when I had my list, I prayed over it.
Oh, that's right.
And also my prayer, I said to God, if there's anything on this list, I want these things. But if there's anything on this that you feel I don't need, I will receive that. So I went in with an open mind. I didn't close myself off. I could have. I tried to. But I didn't close myself off. And I went into dating with an open mind. And when I met Josiah, it flowed naturally. The chemistry was just through the roof. It was just, I could tell that he didn't view me as a sex object. Like, of course, men go into a relationship. You know how men are.
They just nasty.
Right. But one thing I did was I didn't kiss him. I didn't let him touch me like that. Nothing. No, we didn't do any of that. So I think that
set the standard.
It set the standard. And I truly feel like that matters. So ladies, save yourself. Don't kiss on first dates. Wait a couple of weeks. Wait a month before you give me a first kiss. I'm just saying. That's what I would do. That's what I do.
Unless you're not trying to find your husband. Because
you just want to, like,
you're dating very intentionally, and this is what you wanted for your life. So some people, they're not there yet. So you can hang out. But if you're trying to be intentional, you have to set the standard of what you want in the beginning. I truly believe that too.
You have to. Amen. So yeah, and then yes, I agree.
Yes, for me, all these things online. I'm here for it.
I'm trying to tell you, girl. The Lord be still pleading. Now you just gotta be patient.
It's just so crazy how when you do meet your person, how it just makes so much sense why everything else didn't work. And it's like, this is so easy. This is so effortlessly. You know, of course, there's ups and downs in every relationship. But the love is not hard. It's not hurting. It's not, and then you're able to kind of move into a space where the connection is so deep and so real. Like, you want to fight for this situation together. Yeah. And it's like, this is why none of that other stuff ain't happened the way I wanted to, because it was you. I was waiting for you.
And also for me, those other guys I dated, they wouldn't have been able to handle the Reniqua that I am today.
Amen.
They wasn't willing. I know for a fact they weren't gonna be abstinent with me. They weren't gonna try to wait or not kiss on the first date or at least try to go to church or pray. Like, I've had guys for that didn't even want to pray. I'm like, what? So now, but I also wasn't there either. But now that I am here, it's God just moved. He just worked in serious ways. Like, the Reniqua that I am today, none of those men could compare. Not speaking down on him, but Josiah is the man for me.
I was just about to say they wasn't for you.
Yes, he's for me.
And that's okay, ladies. Except when that man ain't for you.
Yes, you have to let it go. It's okay,
because what is for you is out there somewhere. He might be online. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes, I had an experience before my fiance where I dated a guy for like 2 or 3 months, and I had to walk away from him. It was very hard because I liked him a lot, but he reminded me of my past. And I prayed, girl, I was in my closet boo-hoo crying, like, Lord, if this is not for me, show me. The next morning, he showed me, and I walked away. It's hard to walk away. So I don't want y'all to think that it's easy to walk away from someone that you like or feel like you love, whatever the feeling might be at the time.
Yeah,
it's gonna hurt. But when I trusted God, I had to trust God. And when you trust God, you don't really focus on your hurt or your pain. You focus on the other side. So at that moment, I said, I like you, bro, but you're not for me. Bye. I had to deuces. It was hard. I cried. I was very hurt when God said leave. I left. I was not staying.
And that's another thing that I love about God. He knows his children, because for me, that is a very hard, like cutting ties is very hard for me. I can't. It's like one of them things. So when my prayer is what's for me is for me, and what's not, I be having to tell the Lord, all right, Lord, you're gonna have to move him, because I'm here. Right. If this ain't it, you're gonna have to move him. And no problem in moving them. And sometimes it makes me upset because they will remove themselves. And it's not nothing bad. It's just like, well, what happened? Well, what I did? And it's nothing that you did, and things was cool, but that wasn't for you.
Yes.
So God you asked me to remove him, and I did. And I be like, all right, Lord.
Yep. Girl.
I guess that was okay. So at the space that you're in now, and in your love after hurt, like, what do you feel has been the most heaviest part? Because I know you had spoke to, you're still healing. There's still some things about your past that are triggering, and you still are in the space of trying to trust the journey. So with your partner, like, what does that look like?
Yeah. My partner, I'll speak for him on his side, but he's very patient with me. And I admire that about, and I tell him that all the time. His patience with me is just amazing. However, I do still get triggered. It could be the smallest things if you call me every day at 8:30 and one day you call at 9, I'm triggered. Because the behavior changed, like the routine changed. I'm like, hold up.
What's going on?
I'm like, what's going on? It could be down to the smallest thing.
Yeah.
And so now I remember one day I went to church, and that's from my fear and my lack of trust, right? So I went to church a few weeks ago, and Pastor Ken had told us to leave anything that we're dealing with, that the enemy, that we feel the enemy has a foothold on us, at the altar. I left my fear at the altar. It's still complicated sometimes, but now instead of dwelling in my fear, I try to talk myself out of it and say, he's not that person. I'm okay. Everything is fine. I'm safe. My son is safe. We're good. Everything's great. But the enemy, he still enemy attacks. Okay.
Yep.
So I still have moments where I'm getting attacked, and I'm having all these negative thoughts sometimes. So I think for us, I know that Josiah has patience with me. And for me, I'm more so just, I guess, cautious and try to be self-aware of what's happening, right? So, and I try to address my triggers in a healthy way.
Yes.
And not allow my fear to conquer. I'm going to conquer my fear. So I try to address my triggers in a healthy manner versus dwelling in it and sitting in it and having all these negative thoughts. Because I've been there where I'm in it. That is when the depression come back, anxiety, the fear enhances. You cannot sit in it. You have to let it go. You have to know that this friend is not my friend from high school who stabbed in my back. This guy is not the guy that cheated on me 4 years ago. You know, my mom is not what she was 5 years ago. She's been delivered. All these things, you have to let it go. When I say let it go, I mean forgive them.
Yeah.
It's easy to, of course, don't forget. You never forget what people do to you. You never forget that. But you have to forgive them so that you're able to heal within yourself and also forgive yourself as well. If you don't forgive yourself, it's hard to really date anybody.
Right.
You have to forgive yourself or the person that abused you or neglected you or whatever the case may be. You have to forgive them. If not, you're going to be stuck forever. So I think that is what, has been working with me and my fiance right now.
I know that's right, girl. Y'all gonna be sick of me when it happens. You hear me? Woo. Girl, but you said something really good there. I feel like that self-love really helps you move into a place where you understand the importance of forgiving them, because forgiving them does not look like all the time them apologizing, them acknowledging that they did something wrong, them making it right. But for you,
yes,
and your mental health and your peace of mind and your ability to move forward, you have to truly let it go and be like, you know what? This bad thing happened. It's terrible, but you know what? I'm not gonna let you have that power over my life no more.
Nope.
And really, and it takes work. I think people kind of go into healing and like being in a space of improvement and progression. Like it's supposed to be easy. No, it's ugly. It looks like crying. It looks like not trusting. It looks like being broke down in the corner a lot of times.
But through God and counseling, therapy, you got to go to therapy.
Hello. Get y'all a therapist. I be telling y'all that all the time.
Gotta go to therapy.
That has a therapist, because it's important to do that.
I went to therapy. I had to go to therapy. And I didn't do a session, but the sessions that I did do, I learned so much.
Yeah.
And on top of that, going to like give my life back to Christ, giving that guidance through God and then therapy together, miracles.
Hello. Yes, ma'am. Faith without work is dead.
Hello. That's right.
You have to put in the work. And I think a lot of people, and whatever your spiritual beliefs are, you have to tap into something higher than yourself. Yep. Like whatever that is for you, your higher power is definitely going to be the thing that's going to spearhead your ability to even put in the work. You know what I mean? So that combination right there is like, it is imperative that you find it. Latch on to something, believe something, and then really put in the work to fix and heal yourself. And it's not going to change overnight. It's not going to be something instant, but in time and with, again, that work and that persistence, y'all got this thing. I believe that all y'all that was hitting me up talking about tonight's conversation, once I put the disclaimer out there what we was talking about, y'all can find love. Y'all can find that person that is for you. The happiness can be restored. Like, I'm just a firm believer in all of that. And I want to take this time, Miss Reniqua, right now to tell you I love you so much.
I love you too.
I think that you are so strong and just an amazing woman all the way around. You're an amazing mother. I'm blessed to have you in my life, and I really appreciate our friendship. Truly,
I appreciate yours too.
Really want to make sure that I love on y'all every chance that I get, because did not know that you felt how you felt until after the fact, and that just really,
a lot of people.
It really, so I'm proud of you. I'm proud of this journey. I'm proud of this progression. I'm proud of everything that you have accomplished and the way that you're moving forward in your life. Congratulations. Again, I'm going to keep on congratulating you on this engagement, honey. That yes, ma'am. And that you're continuing to work and continuing to keep your best foot forward, because it does take time, and it's not going to be something just because you find love again doesn't mean that you're magically like
everything go away. No, girl, it's clear. You got to do the work.
Right. Right. It's commitment to self is a lifelong commitment. Period.
Yes.
There's always going to be something.
Like the healing journey for yourself might be better. Now I have to work on healing in a relationship. Completely different thing. It's completely different.
Because they're coming with stuff too. They coming with stuff, you coming with stuff. Now we got to carry all this stuff together. Like my mama always says, two imperfect people coming together. Hello.
Words of Robin Wright. Love you,
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yay, this was great.
Hey, I had so much fun. I love this.
So any last words, any encouraging words, if you had to tell somebody, let's look at someone who is you. Maybe who you were in that dark space is somebody that's tuned in right now. What advice would you give yourself with how you are now to who you were then?
The advice I would give to other women would be it's not easy, and trust the process, have faith in yourself, be confident in yourself and your decisions, know that you are worthy, you are loved, God loves you, and your family supports you. Even if you feel like they don't, they support you. And just always remember that you are a conqueror, you are a pioneer, you are amazing, you are worthy, you are confident, you are strong, you're a great person, you're a great mother, you're a great friend, a great sister, auntie, you're great all around. And just know that God loves you, and true love always wins, period.
Period. All of that. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All of that. So there's that. It's been another great conversation on As Told by Nay, the podcast. I'm not going to say we'll be back here next week, same time, same place, but just pay attention. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Turn your notifications on, and you will know when the next show is. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram at inay4. You can stay up to date with all that is As Told by Nay there as well. If you have any conversations or any stories that you want to get out to the people and you want to be a part of, I love having my guests on. Hit me up. I promise I'm a super nice person. You can always slide in the DMs. We can talk about it. We can get you on the show so you can help us help other people. I'm always here for getting people's stories out. So you never know who can relate and who will be able to grow from what you've been through. So that's my spiel. Thank y'all for being here again. And thank you for the comments, everybody that tuned in. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and let's talk about it.